Hey guys, this is Simply Southern Pups. So I am Jason, and this is.
Kendra,
Scott.
Allie.
Christian.
We are going to talk to you today about a few different things. And we've got them in sections, and we're going to do each section and kind of exhaust it all the way through and hopefully cover a lot of the FAQ part of our website. The first thing is scams. Are scams? Get that question a lot.
All the time.
Yes.
Very real.
Yes. Anybody want to throw out some info about scams?
Yeah, no, I'll jump in there. Yeah,
Okay.
right away. There isn't a week that goes by that we get a call from a family that's we've been scammed. We don't know what happened. And typically it's one of these forms of payment really is the way to spot a scam nowadays. 99.9% of the time you can find it through their payment method. Websites are getting more and more creative. Fake profiles are out there. So you can't really just go on basically that user facing, interaction nowadays.
Mhm.
It's got to be down to that payment method. So Facebook, whatever you're looking at through that search, if you're looking at forms of payment like Zelle, Chime, Cash App, Venmo, Western Union, Walmart MoneyGrams, gift cards, the list kind of goes on and on. Those are issues. Those are big warning signs that this is a potential scam. This is not something you want to deal with in the payment method.
Yeah, the type of payment tells you who they are. That will let you know really quick who you're dealing with. Pass or payment protected types would be anything with a 3% fee. So if you have a Visa, MasterCard, PayPal's in there too. PayPal charges 3%. Those types of payments are going to have a chargeback team or a dedicated committee for chargebacks. If there's ever something that you send a payment and it's free, that is going to not have a chargeback team on it. So scammers know that. They want all the money. They don't even want a little fee attached to it because they don't want that money leaving their account. So scammers are going to use Zelle, Western Union, Walmart MoneyGram, Cash App, so forth.
And I think also like we find from the horror stories from families calling in are like, if it's too good to be true, kind of like go with your intuition on that. I think another important thing to look for is a credible website, which again, Scott mentioned, there's shell websites out there that are just so beautifully crafted and they're believable. And then the families fall for that. But, kind of dig deeper into who you're speaking to, ask them about their health guarantee, if they have credible, Google reviews or an Instagram page. Most of the time, we like to post a lot of our families on Instagram and we tag them. So in that aspect, you could reach out to that family, ask them their experience with us and, how everything went with our process.
Yeah, you are not going to find a French bulldog for $500.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So
Right.
if you see it online, likely it's a scam.
Yep.
And one thing that we say all the time is if even after hearing all of this and talking with us, you're still kind of nervous, just come by. I will set up an appointment. We have pups here. We'd be happy to show you. We'd be sitting in this very room.
And I would say too that the scammers that are out there typically do not want to hop on a call with you. So just the fact that you can get somebody on the phone typically also will tell you who they are. Look for accents. We all have American accents, or I would think we do. So maybe look for that too.
Or they will not get on the phone. So they'll just strictly text. And in order to, reserve this puppy, send the money right away. There's a lot of pressure. So just be mindful of that.
Oh, and cryptocurrencies. They're also
Bitcoin?
wanting payment in cryptocurrencies now too. And I'm sure this is going to change as we go forward too. But for now, that's a pretty good synopsis of scammers. Okay, now we're going to talk about puppy mills and where they fit into the scenario and how we are not one, or where we fit in there. Anybody have any ideas on puppy mills?
So the puppy mill question is one we get all the time. Makes a lot of sense. And you always say if it was us on the other side of the table, we'd be asking the same question. So I totally understand. Really, the way that you can kind of start to look at it, at the end of the day, it's a trust thing. It's a, Jason says all the time, it's a marriage, between us as the breeders and you as the potential, new owners of that puppy. And there's a lot of things that we can kind of give you to explain what that means. One of the big things are the process that we go through with ourselves or even with the breeders in our network to be a part of our dog club. It's pretty intense. There's a lot that goes on, and some would even say the standards are a little bit too high. Those are the ones that are not a part of our dog club. With that being said, number one is each parent they're twice vet checked yearly. This is making sure that they're in good, healthy breeding conditions. Those parents are also only bred, or mom would be bred once a year. There's a heat cycle break, so that's definitely one big thing. So does anybody else want to hit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We never breed back to back. That's super important and a standard across the board for all of our dog club members. So mama typically only has 5 litters her entire life, and then she's spayed. And then, of course, we get the common question from families calling in, do you have any older dogs? Where do they go? Retired mamas. We actually just keep them within our family or friends circle. So we don't really typically give them away or anything like that because they are family members. But it's really important that we never breed back to back. That's a huge thing for us. We're really big on health.
Yeah, the parents are pets. So to reach out to us and say, hey, we want your pet, it's always going to be no. We do have a 2-strike policy as well. So if a breeder, has a strike against them, they're allowed to correct it. There's a certain amount of time that they have to correct it. And then if they have a second violation, they're done. The spontaneous checks are also kind of what's, I think, important. If you or I were thinking that we were going to get a spontaneous check somewhere that year, we're not sure which day, we're always going to keep our house in order.
Yeah, just dovetailing off of that too. I think one of the big aspects in this is our partnership with Fetch and the pet insurance company, third party pet insurance company. Then that's all they do too. So they don't have boat, RV, home,
Right.
these types of things. They're animal people first and foremost. A insurance company is not going to partner with someone that's going to have a high claim rate, especially on the genetic side of the equation. Insurance companies are in business for a reason, and that's to be low claims, if no claims at all, right?
Genetic malformations in dogs are birth defects from genetic errors. They range from mild to severe, affecting parts like hips, hip dysplasia, and heart defects. Malformations in dogs can include cleft palate, spinal deformities, and eye issues, usually inherited and more frequent in certain breeds due to breeding choices. Breeders with a 5 to 7% occurrence of these malformations are considered elite level breeders. This low rate reflects their commitment to responsible breeding practices and genetic health management, ensuring the well-being and longevity of the breed.
Yeah, so numbers wise, if you're the best breeder in America, and let's say you're breeding large breeds, you can hang out, let's say you're hanging out between 8 and 10%. Some of the overbred breeds which would be like maybe a golden retriever or something like that, or a lab, you hear 15%. You hear some pretty high numbers. If you are the best breeder in America of a mini or toy, and typically minis and toys kind of hang out in the F1 or F1B space. So mixes, we're talking about mixes, you can sometimes get your numbers as low as 5 to 7%. We knew that going in. There's been good breeding practices that we've put into place for 20 years. We've been able to get below 5%. That number is always fluctuating, but we are below what we consider is industry best practice.
Yeah, and even one thing is kind of a good topic to bring up, with the the puppy mill thing. A lot of people will ask us, they talk about rescues. Rescues is, well, why would I get a puppy from you when I can go to a rescue? And that's a great question. Here's something that you may not know. Now these guys do. My wife and I are huge rescue advocates. We have 4 rescues at home. We have Milo, Axel, Izzy, and Stella. Those are our babies. All rescues came from very bad situations, and we love them to death. So to be in this industry is very interesting because it's almost like I've had actually people tell me, you know, you are what's wrong with this. But the pups that are in our network are not typically ones that you are going to find at a rescue. We're talking minis and toys, small breeds, hypoallergenic. You're typically not going to find them. And if you do, please take them home. You know, find a home for that pup. But for the most part, it's not going to be kind of what you're looking for. If you're looking for a 5-pound Pomeranian, I mean, you would have to search the country to find a rescue for that. So it's a little bit different situation.
Well, and we also understand that not everybody can rescue a dog. I mean, we did it 4 times, and they sometimes come with baggage.
Lots of
And
baggage.
some people have allergies and they can't do a dog that is coming from the pound. There are some people that are older. They can't handle a 70-pound dog like we have. It's just sometimes those rescue dogs, they don't work for everybody. And that's why we do what we do too. We're offering that to the people that dogs in the pound don't always work for.
100%. You verbatim nailed it on the head. I mean, I was just going to mention that, adopt first, shop second. And if you don't have a weight restriction, you don't have allergies, please, look into that first. Absolutely.
Yeah. The saying is adopt, don't shop, right? But we're from the camp where there is a room for purposely bred, hypoallergenic, like you guys have said. There are breed-specific rescues on Facebook. So if you guys are looking for a breed-specific, and let's say an older dog or something like that, and let's say you do want a Maltese, go to Facebook, add yourself to a group that has something similar to that. There are those out there. So we don't want to ever say like we're the only spot to get a hypoallergenic dog, but if you want a puppy and you want it well bred and you want it with a 10-year guarantee, that's where we come in. And now we want to talk about the topic of how we work. So getting onto the website would be very confusing for some because they see a bunch of dogs listed. They go, what's going on here?
Are all the dogs at your house?
Yeah.
Absolutely
We
not.
come see 93
Go
dogs
crazy.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's cover a few areas within this. Who wants to take pre-sale versus in-house and outdoor versus indoor photos? That's a pretty easy one.
It's a pretty easy one.
I'll
take it.
that's a
I like
softball.
easy
Soft
things.
toss.
Yeah,
I like
soft
the
toss.
easy
Let's
things.
do that.
Since I do take the outdoor photos, I guess
There
I'll
you
get
go.
most of them. So there's basically 2 categories of puppies that are on our website. You're going to have the pre-sale that are typically pictured on a, it's like a gray wooden type tile. And then they're next to stuffed animals, usually too. The other category would be the puppies that are pictured outdoors. So the ones that are pictured next to stuffed animals are still with our breeder. They are there with them. They are not here with us.
Yeah, I think another big point in that too is the 9-week mark, right? So we do not rehome puppies before 9 weeks. I've been on calls where you hear, well, my last dog, I got it 6 weeks or 7 weeks. I'm like, cold sweat, kind of starts to come over with. There's too much that can go sideways there, from 5 to 9 weeks. So we obviously too want each and every puppy to get as much time as possible with mom, continue to build up that immune system naturally and in a healthy manner. And then once it gets closer to that 9-week period in time, that's when we're able to get the puppy here.
Yeah, and it is illegal to sell a dog before 8. So, but that's all breeds, large to small. You have to have an 8-week minimum if people are following the law. So if somebody reaches out and says, "Oh, I got to put my last puppy is 6 weeks," they just didn't follow the law, or at least the breeder didn't. So yeah, our minimums are going to be different as far as minimum age before the dog can go home, or minimums as far as their weight to make sure that the dog hits a certain sort of weight milestone before we let the dog go home. Our general rule of thumb there is going to be dependent per breed, but I would say it's 3 pounds or 3 months, whichever comes first. So that's just generally speaking. But yeah, most of our dogs are going home at 9 weeks. Also, once you decide, so let's say you're past all the stuff we just talked about, and you're going to decide on the dog, and then you say, well, what if the dog doesn't like me? That's a common one that we hear, right? How do I know? Are your deposits refundable? Are they non-refundable? So our deposits are non-refundable, puppy specific. And the personality question that we get quite often is that these are companionship breeds, right? So these aren't guardianship breeds, not large breeds. The companionship breeds are going to do something different than some of the bigger breeds. They're going to melt into your situation very easily. We talk about melting a lot. It's just our version of saying that you're on your path and the dog's on its path. It eventually meets together. If you did nothing, it would eventually meet together. So Cavapoos are our number one breed. They're our number one in customer requested, number one in customer feedback. That's a really easy one to kind of pick out. That dog is going to 100% melt into your family situation no matter what. And so the melting thing is real. We've never had a family arrive here and not like the personality of their puppy. That's never been a thing. In 20 years, that has never happened. Now, we have had people say, I bought a black and white dog. I thought it was black and white in the photos. I got here, it's gray and white, or vice versa. I bought a gray and white dog. I got here, I'm allergic to black and white. I don't know. But we've heard some crazy things. We don't want our customers to be confused that our deposits are non-refundable. They are puppy specific, but I can guarantee you the personality will melt into your situation. We try to take HD photos and HD videos for good lighting and good color representation and so forth. So we pay a lot of money for our website to display those correctly.
A good thing I always tell families is be quick, but don't hurry. Mm-hmm. I think we got that taught to us in football, in high school football, and it's stuck with me ever since then. And then going in through, and being a breeder, that still holds true. Mm-hmm. Be quick in the process, but don't rush through it. Like, do your due diligence, do your research, call us, talk. Nobody's saying to rush into judgment and just throw a deposit down and hope it works. It's be quick, but don't hurry.
And we also always say that once you have the green lights in your head, that's the time to pull the trigger. Go for it, but don't do it before you get the green lights. You're going to need a lot of battery pack. We talk about this all the time. These puppies are going to test your patience. There's going to be some transition, difficulties or whatever it is. You want to have that battery pack from a positive, I'm getting this dog, a positive moment in your head where you have the green light and the green light goes off. Once you make the deposit's $400, comes off the final balance. Once you make it through the website, then the dog is immediately and automatically removed. From that point, from the point of a reservation up until when you pick up, there's some things that are going to happen. You're going to start getting emails from Fetch. You're going to start getting some scheduling questions. You can always just beat us to the scheduling questions and text us what day and time is best for you. And we'll look and we'll put you into the time slot that's closest to that. As soon as you reserve the dog, text us the best time and day that you would like right away. But the dogs are immediately removed from the site. No one else can purchase that dog. That dog is yours, just so you know. And what happens from the time that you make the deposit? People always say, what comes with the puppy? We're sending you immediately after you reserve the dog. It's automatically done. But the first thing that you're going to receive are some emails from Fetch, like we talked about. And then there's a thing called the puppy prep email. Puppy prep email, which is a lot of P's, and that's a mouthful, but that is going to come to you. It is a 3-page email that covers everything from housing to training to feeding to what to do with my puppy, how to even travel home with your dog. It's very extensive. It has been curated over years. We've taken our time and seen all the problems with previous adoptions and tried to put it into one email on how to do it best. And that email is going to come through. Study that. That's your homework, is what we always say. And by studying that, you're going to be fully prepared by the day you come pick up.
And we'll quiz you.
And we will quiz you. There is
will
a quiz.
Be a written test.
Get ready for the quiz. So that is the best pickup appointments and presentations that we do, which we spend about an hour per family, the best ones really are the people who prepared and came in with a lot more questions. Those are great. We love questions. We even encourage you guys to audio record or video record our session. We are 100% okay with that. We welcome that. We want you guys to leave with 100% of the information. What did they say that 95% of what you say verbally is gone within a few hours? I don't know who they are, but they are right. The ball starts to get rolling the week of the pickup. On Tuesdays, those are our vet check days. The Tuesday before you're supposed to come pick up is your vet check day. Wednesday is the travel day. That's where we're in cars, we're picking up puppies and driving individually and getting your puppy here in Newberry. Those days are pretty chaotic. So if you reach out for Wednesday for a photo update or a video update, we're probably going to say, hey, let's wait till tomorrow. Thursday is the day that we have to prepare everything and get everything right for the puppies going home that Friday and Saturday, and then the following Monday. If you're hearing just a lot of days, just remember that we do everything on a regimented schedule. And if you guys can kind of understand that, if you want a photo update or a video update, Thursday morning is probably the best time. Would we all agree with that? Thursday morning is
Yes.
That's perfect. Okay. And so if we get home Wednesday night, we're obviously exhausted from travel. And the last thing we want to do is bathe up a puppy and do a video at 10, 11 at night. So, but you do get a good service here. You are in good hands. We say that a lot. You guys are in good hands here. So, okay, now we are going to talk about the topic of appointments, how to schedule an appointment and all that good stuff. We briefly discussed it in our last segment, but why don't you guys take that one, Christian? and
Yeah,
Allie?
for sure. So the day is here, the Super Bowl. It's the day you come and get your puppy. It's the most exciting day. It's our favorite day. It's super awesome to see you guys get here and you're all excited. And we do have tissues just in case tears start to fall, which happens. The appointments they're special. It really is a cool time. Number one, we will typically, as soon as a deposit's placed, we'll reach out and say, hey, these are the dates we have available around that availability date, and we'll get you on the schedule. From there, one thing that we ask that's huge for us, and it might not seem big, but send us a text when you are 30 minutes out, and we'll remind you probably 15 times. It just lets us know that you're almost here. That way we can have the pup ready. We can have your paperwork ready. We can kind of just be prepared for you to show up.
And that's a text, right?
That's
Not
a text.
call. Just
Correct.
a text
Yep, just a text is perfect.
is great.
Typically we'll respond and say, awesome, we'll see you soon. But we will be ready for you, kind of incoming. Once you get here, you just go ahead and park in the roundabout by the front door. You'll see there's a little fountain. You'll just drive right around and park right behind the car in front of you, and then come up to the door, and we'll come out and get you. From there, the appointment time lasts anywhere from 45 minutes to 60 minutes, depending on what you bring. If you are one of my favorite people and you bring in a notebook and a pen and you are ready for it, we'll sit down. If you bring all your questions, we'll talk about all that stuff. First of all, you're going to see the puppy. That's the first thing that's going to happen. And it's going to be like this glorious moment to where you see the cutest thing you've ever seen in your whole entire life. And then we'll come back in and we'll usually let the puppy go back and, maybe get something to drink or a little bit to eat before the ride home. And we'll sit and we'll talk about, vaccination records and feeding schedules and training tips and all that fun stuff. And kind of like Jason mentioned earlier, we're going to make sure that you are as comfortable as possible by the time you leave these doors. You may not know that you're coming here to get a degree in puppies, but you're going to get one. There's a lot of information, so definitely, taking notes or like he mentioned, recording it is huge.
Next topic that we're going to talk about is the breed matching. And we're going to talk about individual breeds, how to select, all that good stuff, fun stuff. Anybody wanted to talk about what our number one breed is?
I think this is a great subject for Scott. He's our puppy concierge. So
Cavapoo expert.
there it is.
Absolutely. I can't say enough positive things about Cavapoos. And honestly, they are such a good breed for first-time puppy owners. and honestly, they transition extremely well. Very good eaters, do well with children. And the other side of the equation as well, empty nesters. This dog is just a 10 out of 10 for us. You really cannot do any wrong with a Cavapoo. I personally love them. They're adorable, affectionate, very social, highly intelligent. I've even heard them, potentially becoming emotional support animals as well. So down the road, of course, with the right training, that could be a possibility as well. So big fan of Cavapoos. If you're kind of in both camps, regardless of, again, you've got 5 or 6 people in the household, other dogs, other animals, or you're an empty nester and it's maybe just yourself as well. They transition extremely well.
And a Cavapoo is a what? A cross between what and what?
Sorry. Cavalier and a poodle. So what we could do also, you will see, I get this question a lot. Well, what's an F1B? What does that mean? So an F1B Cavapoo would be a 75% poodle, 25% Cavalier. So just want to get that clarified as well. If you see on the website, it just says Cavapoo, then that is what we consider an F1. So that's a 50-50 Cavalier and poodle breed there as well.
And the best has always been the answer of Cavapoo. It never has let us down. It gets #1 in customer feedback, #1 in requests. It's #1 across the board. So there is a clear winner. People always call us up. What's the best breed you offer? It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to fail us, and I've never lost sleep over adopting out a Cavapoo. There are some breeds I have lost sleep, and there are some specific dogs I have lost sleep. One of the ones that I would say is on the other end of the spectrum, one of the ones that is, you kind of need to know what you're getting into, would be like any of the Aussie mixes. Aussie mixes are pretty hyper. They're pretty energetic. They have a lot of, they're basically highly intelligent. So because they're so intelligent and because they come from herding bloodlines, the Australian mixes are going to need a certain type of family and a certain daily routine and a lot of games that they can play that they can figure out. They need training a certain way. So they come in all sizes, all colors. They're gorgeous. They're great dogs. But are they the best for a first-time family? Maybe not. So that's one of the ones that I would say just to kind of watch out for. Why don't we talk about Maltese Maltipoos, Maltese crosses? Would you like to take that one?
Sure. So, of course, I'm extremely biased. I love, obviously, Cavapoos, #1 in my opinion, too, because we obviously have co-bred litters of our own bloodlines. But I love Maltipoos. They are extremely cute. They have the funnest personalities. They are hypoallergenic, a huge advantage there. And they're typically smaller for the clientele or families that are looking for smaller weights. However, with their higher price you may see on the website, a lot of time and energy and caretaking from the breeder standpoint and ours is invested into the raising of the Maltipoos. They are obviously, for the most part, if they're F1, they're half Maltese, half poodle, toy or mini poodle. And the Maltese breed, purebred, is a more sensitive, finicky eater. Issues with eating in the past. So that can affect.
They're a sensitive breed. They're very, they can get sunburnt. They have allergies to a lot of different types of food. And we just see problems, I would say, with them. Would you say you've seen more problems with Maltese crosses, Maltipoos, Maltese? Like we'll just give you numbers. So last year, there was 12 families that ended up in ERs. We would hope that number would be 0. But out of the 12 families who came and picked up and went home, and let's say sometime in the first 2 weeks they had an issue, and it was an ER issue, we have seen 9 of those were Maltese mixes. So just keep that in mind, that it is a lot of care involved and it's front loaded. It's very similar to like NICU babies. So there's babies that obviously hit their weight limit and they can go home right away. And then there are babies that need a little bit more TLC and time in the beginning. And those NICU babies are our Maltepoos or Maltese mixes.
Looking on the site and you're trying to figure out, which breed works for me. There are little descriptions on our website on each breed page specifically.
And I think a better option that I always like to bring up, if you're dead set on a Maltipoo, you love the look, you love the breed, and you may not like the price of a Maltipoo, I always suggest it's called a beige poo or a Poochon, and it's a poodle crossed with a Bichon. They are sturdier in terms of the transition. Is the woes and the concerns go way down, and the feeding is less intensive as it would be with a Maltipoo. So I always suggest a Poochon over a Maltipoo if you're kind of concerned with the caretaking side of things, and also if you're price conscious.
And Poochons can go home sooner
Yes.
than their Maltipoo counterparts. We typically will keep a Maltipoo around for a lot longer, maybe a week or two extra, that we're keeping a Maltipoo around, and we'll let a Poochon go home sooner. Okay, now we have the topic of pricing, which should be a fun one, right? People love pricing and talk about pricing. Why don't you take that one, Scott?
I gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. So pricing. So people always ask the question, well, why is this puppy, which looks very similar to this other puppy here, different in pricing? Why isn't it just one price? There are a lot of factors that come into our variable pricing. It really does start off with, one, the amount of time invested into that. Jason touched on it earlier with the different breeds. Maltipoos are going to take and invest more time into them, whereas a Cavapoo is going to be a different story. I'm just going to use those two breeds because we're talking about them specifically for the most part. So time invested, so again, is the start. Also, you're going to talk about gender. Gender is part of the equation. Males are going to be less expensive than females. That is just a general statement for any breed. Also, you're going to get into the other factors are color, coat, physical attributes, markings. These are things that are going to change in the variable pricing. It will dictate the price. So let's give like kind of bumpers here. So a male that is a solid coat color is going to be less expensive than a female that is a merle, is a tricolor, that has, different markings, more unique markings. This is going to be a more expensive puppy along our guidelines when it comes to that. One thing to just kind of wrap this all in a nice bow, and no pun intended here, but just around the holidays, prices, they do increase, going back to supply and demand. It is the craziest time period for any breeder, not just us, where puppies are going to go extremely quick. The adoption process, like we talked about earlier, it goes 1-2 days that puppy's online, and then that puppy's going to be adopted. So it is a fast and furious market, but then at the same time, price is going to increase as well. So the price that we have now is not the price that it's going to be around the holiday season.
Once you take the puppy home, we are not the kind of place that's like, here's a pup, have a great life, and we never talk to you again. We want to be invested in the aftercare. So we do offer training sessions here afterwards for our families that purchase pups from us, to help you further. If there's anything else that you're dealing with, you can always reach out to us and say, hey, I'm dealing with maybe something like separation anxiety, and we have a bunch of tips that we can help, alleviate that. We've never had a puppy that we weren't able to fix, or a family weren't able to help when it comes to that front. So don't be discouraged by training. Don't let it be the reason that's stopping you from getting a pup, because I promise you we can help.
And the number one reason for a puppy so shelters have intake sheets, and those shelters will basically write down the reason. The number one reason is the dog was not trainable, or so that's a human problem, not a dog problem. That's how I look at it. So when we are talking to our families about training, of course, training is going to be one of the biggest things that comes up in conversation. So we want to make sure that you guys are equipped and that you have support. The aftercare support is big for us. We grade ourselves on how well we do from the adoption day moving forward. Getting to the adoption day is very easy. all you have to do is take a picture of a cute puppy and put it on a nice website. And that's pretty easy. That's how people get scammed, because the emotion starts to come in. But how we do and how well we do from adoption day forward is how I grade ourselves. So we do offer training. A training is free. If you bought the dog from us, a part of our club, you can come back here for a 1-hour in-person training here at our home. If we have to drive somewhere, there might be a driving fee, but it's free. All right. The next section that we are going to talk about is our reviews and our social media and our BBB, triple B, our view on that fine institution. Would anybody like to share on reviews or social media or anything like that?
I would love to.
Great.
After typically every phone call that we've had, with families or text messages, we always kind of recap what we've talked about on our phone call, or just send you via text a link to our Google reviews and our Instagram handle and Facebook. So you do have access to all of those platforms. We're very transparent. If you haven't already noticed, we care a lot about where our puppies go and what type of families that they're going to. So with that, you have access to reaching out to any of our families that we have posted on Instagram or Facebook. I like to tag a lot of them, and some of them make little Instagram pages for their puppies. So it's really fun to follow along. And of course, we stay in contact with all those families through the years. But that kind of gives you a more transparent approach with who we are and how their experiences were with us by asking the actual family themselves. So kind of Google reviews can kind of take you so far, but reaching out to each and every family, if you would like, you have that access. But you're welcome to build on that.
Yeah, I would also add to Google reviews. We've had people before say, well, you can buy Google reviews, right? And they're not wrong. You can buy Google reviews. The ones that are typically purchased or are going to look like a certain way. They're usually 2 or 3 words or a very short sentence. Would buy again. Great service. They're never going to have photos of themselves as tagged as the account. They're also not going to have photos of a dog. So if we're buying our reviews, we're lucky because our customers have created very long paragraph form, novel form, going in depth about their experience with us. So look for those. Those are real, right? Photos of the dog.
Tagged.
Yeah. All this stuff just shows legitimacy, and it's something to point out. The holding period for small dogs. Let's talk about the time dogs go, or the distance between when the dog goes home, why we might hold a small dog for a little longer, what are kenneling fees if a family has some travel plans or whatever. Anybody like to take any of that?
Yeah, I could start off and then anyone else could jump in, but there are availability dates listed on the ad listing. So it's specific to each and every pup. They're all different. With that, when you are checking out and reserving a puppy, you actually have to click a terms and condition box. So you are aware of it. If you forget everything we said in this video, it will remind you that you have 7 days past the availability date to have the puppy either delivered or come here and pick up at our home in Newberry.
Now, is that 7 days from the deposit or 7?
That is a common question. It kind of gets lost in translation. So good question. It's 7 days from the actual availability date listed. You have from that point forward, not when you place the deposit. It is not applicable, though, just a reminder, to multi-poos. So again, that kind of comes into play with the 3-pound or 3-month age limit. The availability date will be modified.
Adjusted. Yeah. We'll need to adjust on some smaller pups. But we hold pups if they don't hit milestone markers. So our milestones are like the weight or the age, or eating milestones. If the dog's not eating a certain way, we talk about this a lot. There's a point where every dog actually, we call it the shakes. We don't know what else to call it, but there's a point where a dog physically gets so excited it shakes. We're looking for that because we know the appetite's been unlocked. And so that's one of the milestones, but there's other ones too. We look for hydration. The dog can't have any loose stool, can't have any sort of, other issues going on with it. And we monitor these things closely. And so we may hold a dog back and allow for a better experience for you. That's the whole idea. So nobody wants to bring home a pooping machine and that poop is loose. And now we have new carpet and new rugs, and that doesn't sound fun. So yes, but nothing replaces a phone call. So if you guys want to call, Scott typically answer. He's our first line of defense on calls. He will love to take your call. The next part of the video, stick around because we are going to show you a screen grab of how, let's say you've got all the green lights and you would like to make a deposit, of how to do that. So stick around for that. Okay, now we're going to show you how to check out on our website through a mobile phone. And I would say only do the checkout or the reservation or the deposit. Our deposits are $400. Only do that if you have all of the green lights in your head. You'll need all of those green lights in your head as your battery pack once you pick up your dog and you're cleaning up all the number ones and number twos. So we don't want anybody to make an emotional decision on our site. We used to have a 4-page questionnaire that we did with customers to grab all their information as a pre-adoption questionnaire. We did that for many years. That proved to be more cumbersome than it did solve problems. So we no longer do that. We go off of feel, we go off of conversation. And I would say that once you've decided and you have the green light, go to our website, which we'll pull up here on Safari. The middle button at the top says available puppies, and it has a little paw print logo next to it. Click that. That will show you these drop-down boxes. The first one says all available puppies. If you click on that one, you will get listed. First will be the dogs that are here with us in Newberry that have outdoor photos. I'll just show that one real quick. So that would be these pups. But let's go back. Let's go to all puppy breeds. Scroll and find the dog that you're interested in. In this scenario, whoops, I hit the wrong one, sorry. All puppy breeds. Let's go scroll down to French Bulldog and click on it. You'll see the first one is Blueberry. She's photographed outdoors, so that dog is here with us in Newberry. You see the dog underneath Blueberry is blue. Blueberry has pink font. That signifies that she is a female. Blue has blue font, and that signifies he is a male. Let's say you decided and you really want blue. Underneath available 11/17, which is date that he would be here ready for you to pick up. Underneath that date is the details button. It's blue. It's in the bottom right. Click on that. That will set you up with his film strip and his video and his other photos that you can scroll through. The video isn't loading for some reason, but anyway, it is on there. Just underneath blue, you'll have the pertinent information like his puppy info, his health records, his parent info. You'll have the age, the date of birth, his current weight, and his estimated adult weight. You'll also have his registration listed on there if a dog is registered. Some of our mixes are not registered, so it'll say NA there. Underneath will be the notes. This is where we put our disclaimers. So if a dog has a slight health issue, we'll be transparent and we'll list it there. If a dog has no health issue and we just need to notify a customer of maybe some color or a pattern that can change or an eye color that can change, we will list it there. So in this case, Blue has a disclaimer about his eye color potentially changing as he gets older. We're very transparent here, so we want our customers to know what can happen. Let's say you want to move forward with them, so you check the box that says, I have read and accept the description above. Then underneath is a gold Adopt Reserve button. Click that. This sets you up with our checkout process. The first thing that we want is the destination zip code. We want where you live. So put in your zip code. What it does is it prices out shipping options, transport options off of your destination zip that you're looking to get the dog to. I'm going to put in 29108, which is our zip code here. The first one you'll notice says pickup, and then there's Pro Stop, Storks, Flight Nanny, and all that. Most of our customers are coming to pick up here in Newberry at our home. I would say 98% of our customers do. We actually have a family here picking up right now. Let's select the pickup function, and then underneath that, the preferred point, there's only one pickup point, and that's here at our home in Newberry. The gold button underneath says next, click that. This will set you up with our required options or our required items or our options. The options will be removable and it'll say it at the bottom. So the first one here, Panicure Dewormer, we give all of our dogs an anti-parasite, anti-worm treatment. There is the ability to give an extra treatment before they leave or just shortly before they leave to set you up with the first 2 to 4 weeks for the dog to be protected even heavier. If you wanted that, we also provide a 30-day guarantee or a 30-day no parasite, no worm guarantee on the dog. So if you pay $19.95, you get that $19.95 back if there were to be a worm or parasite in the first 30 days. And then you would also receive refunds for any sort of anti-parasite or anti-worm medicine that you needed to give from your veterinarian. That is a 30-day warranty of sorts on parasites and worms. Let's say you wanted to remove that. You would click the remove button. It would say removed. If you wanted to add it back in, click the add button and it'll say added. And that Panicure option is $19.95, and that is an option. Underneath that is the Puppy Transition Essentials Kit. This is really for dogs that are smaller, so in between 3 and 4 pounds. That's what we're looking for. Dogs that are bigger, like mini Bernedoodles, mini Golden Doodles, they typically don't need something like this, but the smaller dogs do. And it comes with, well, it'll list what it comes with, but we'll go over those items with you in person. If you don't think your dog is gonna hit the 4-pound mark, you can leave it in. If you're not sure, just take it off, and then we can always add it in as an extra when you get here. So don't worry about that. Okay, so that is $14.95. It is required for the warranty on the dogs that are 3 to 4 pounds. Underneath that, Lost My Pet. There are 3 items underneath Lost My Pet, or 3 charges. 2 of them are required, 1 is optional. Let's go over the required. The microchip identification is a permanent way to tell who the puppy belongs to. It's about the size of a grain of rice, and it's in between the shoulders on the back of the neck, where the scruff would be, where mom would grab. That is automatically done, and all of our pups have that done. It's already done. That's how we are able to identify the dog. So that charge is required. Just underneath that is the enrollment. The enrollment is done automatically as well. So you come pick up your dog. The automatic enrollment takes place the day after you pick up. For customers picking up on Fridays and Saturdays, it's done Monday. The automatic registration for your pup's microchip is a required option because it's another way for us to kind of combat the fraud or scam part of the world that is trying to get dogs that with other people's credit card information. So the dog will automatically be registered with the card holder's information. Just underneath that is the option inside of the Lost My Pet window. That option is the QR tag. That is for people wanting the highest level of identification. It's basically a little QR code that you can hang on the puppy's collar. If you were at a park and your dog ran off and there's no dog warden around, with a microchip scanner, you can actually prove that the dog's yours through a QR code using it on your phone. That would pop up a link with your information. This is for like ultra level. I mean, not everybody wants it, but it is an option. It can also come with your dog's name printed on it. So it's kind of cute. Some people like it. That charge is $29.95, and that is a discount for our customers. Just underneath that
is Frontline. Frontline is more for, I would say, springtime, heading into summer, full-blown summer, and then maybe like towards the end. As you get into fall and winter, you don't really have the need as much for Frontline. So depending on when you're buying your puppy, it is a puppy-safe dose, and it's also a puppy-safe product. We only use anything that's under the direction of our veterinarian. So I've heard people say, well, is that safe? Yes, topically is safe as long as it's a puppy-safe dose, and it goes off of the weight of the dog. When you apply it, it goes onto the skin, basically permeates in the dog's oil system, and then it provides protection via the dog. It lasts for about 30 days. That's when their oils cycle. And that 30-day protection is meant to aid yourself in keeping fleas and ticks off. What I would say is you also want to protect your yard. And we talk about that with customers picking up, but you do want to protect your yard as well. Just underneath Frontline is the Pamper Plus Bath Groom Essential Oil and Ear Cleansing Wash. All of our dogs get a pampered treatment the way it is. You don't have to pay for it. Your dog's going to come squeaky clean when the time is to pick up your dog. There is an extra level that we use different products and we use different items for your dog. It takes longer for us to do that. But if you go onto our Google reviews will have many of them say the same thing, where my puppy smelled so amazing the day of pickup. All of that stuff that my wife does that's top level or extra care involved with the dog, all of that takes time and it takes products. So that is $29.95. That is an option. You can add or remove it at the bottom. Underneath that is the veterinarian inspection fee. That is $49.95. We check our puppies here twice by 2 different veterinarians. Those checks are meant to eliminate human error. So because we do 2 checks and other places are going to do 1 or none, because we're doing 2 veterinarian checks, we just ask our customers to pay for 1 of the 2 checks. That $49.95 fee is required. It just shows our customers that we do take the extra step to make sure that you don't get attached to a puppy who may have an issue. We're very transparent. We're very upfront. With everything that we know, we give it to our customers. The next item is required. It's the food that your dog's been on. We use Royal Canine. You'll see in the photos there, it actually has Science Diet, but Royal Canine had a small little hiccup in their delivery process, and we had to switch foods for a very, very brief time, but you are getting Royal Canine. Your dog's on Royal Canine. If we were ever to switch, the text would be up in we would switch it on the website. So Royal Canine's what your dog's on. That is a premium hard kibble. It is specifically designed for your dog's size. So it's a very small kibble. It's about the size of a Tic Tac, and it's not found in stores. So we do make that required, and it is $11.95. And we'll give you a good amount. For some of the smaller dogs, the amount that we give lasts for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Some of the bigger dogs, it might last a week or 2. Underneath that is Fetch. Our 10-year genetic warranty is connected through a 6-month premium with Fetch. So if you get their entry-level plan and keep it for 6 months, you get a 10-year genetic guarantee with us. You do have to check the box that says, I have read the above and understand that the insurance is required as part of the Simply Southern Pups Health Guarantee. Underneath that is the order summary. This is where everything is going to tally, and it'll also show that the coupon has been applied. It tallies up sales tax because I'm within the state of South Carolina. For those customers outside of South Carolina who are doing a delivery, it will have no sales tax listed. Let's say I'm comfortable with everything there. I would click the gold button. This is where I fill out all my information. We do recommend taking a moment to make sure that the email address you put in is exactly correct. We've had people mess that up. Make sure your cell phone is exactly correct. We've had somebody put 1 letter, 1 number off, 1 dot off, punctuations off, and we can't get a hold of them unless they call us. The next thing is the destination address. This would be your home address, followed by the billing address. The billing address is important for it to be connected to the address that's on your card. Once all of that is filled out, you would click the next button. From there, it's just plugging in your credit card information. Once you receive the page that says, congratulations, you've just adopted so-and-so, that's how you know you've made it a complete transaction. It's the final page at the very end that will say, congratulations. Once you've reached that, you know that you're in the system, the dog's been immediately and automatically removed from the system, and nobody else can get your dog.